halfway through an answer. The form that's been agreed to here by the staff is that we will have 3 minutes for each of the candidates to make a brief statement, introduce themselves to you. And then working with the staff and members, we've put together some questions, and each of them will have a minute to answer the questions. Depending on the time, when we're done with that, we may take questions from the floor. We may have a brief time for them to make a closing. It depends on the time. Mike's already flashing me the red, so let's move on. We drew numbers as part of this, and so we will start off each of them with their 3-minute presentation, and the first one is Bill Sargent.
Hi, I'm Bill Sargent, and I'm running for Congress. If there are a couple things I want you to remember when you leave this place today, and that is that I'm the most experienced and qualified candidate in this race, and I am a man of integrity, and by the way, I also live in Galveston County. Part of what we're seeing in Washington today is we send people to Washington, and they become politicians. We see that we look at the liberal policies of Obama and Reid and Pelosi, and we blame them for what's happening to the havoc that's being wreaked on our economy and our nation. But you know what? They're not the only ones that are to blame. The Republicans in Congress are to blame. The leadership of the Republican Party in the House is part to blame. That's because we've had control of the House for a year, and we continue to see them cave in and not hold the line for us. I'm willing to take on the leadership of the Republican Party if necessary in order to confront them and bring them back online. And I'm willing to do that. Now, I've worked in Washington for many years. I worked in the legislative branch as well as the executive branch. And I served there, and I learned a number of lessons. One of the lessons that I learned is you never, ever cross the line of integrity. Once you do that, there is no going back. Once you do that, you can no longer be trusted. So I commit to you that if you send me to Washington, I will never, ever cross that line. That's really important to me, and that's part of who I am. Let's talk about what I'd do if I got there. Or I should say, when I get there. First thing I would do, I would join the effort to repeal Obamacare and all the mandates that go along with it. If we're unsuccessful in doing that, at the very least, defund it. The second thing we need to do would be to have serious debt reduction, serious spending reduction. I'm tired of people lying to me and telling me they're reducing spending when what they're really doing is reducing the increase. Be honest, folks. The other thing is we need to do, and I'll work tirelessly for, is a viable energy policy. One that includes drilling in the Gulf, includes developing our natural gas and our oil resources and getting them to the refineries. Those refineries are, of course, in the 14th District. I know something about national security. National security, of course, energy security is part of national security. National security is something that's really close to my heart because I, excuse me, what does that mean?
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. They didn't tell us what it meant. Okay. I joined the Navy. I took an oath of office to defend and support the Constitution. I will never, ever, ever violate that trust. Let me just leave you with this. I'm the only candidate that has the experience in Washington and also at the state and federal level, state and local level, and I'm the person who you need to vote for. I will never violate your trust. Thank you.
The next candidate is Michael Truncale.
Thank you. Many of you have gotten to know me over the last several months, but for those of you who don't know me, please allow me to tell you a few things about myself. First, I want you to know that I am a son of educators. I am a dedicated family man. In fact, my wife Denise is here with me today. We have 2 daughters and a son-in-law. I'm a lifelong conservative Republican. I've been a university regent, a community leader, and a church leader. But one thing is certain, I am not a politician. Now, I've been active in the Republican Party all of my life, from attending conventions in 1984 to being a national delegate in 2008. I'm on the state Republican Executive Committee. Some have said I was Republican in this district, and I'm from this district, before Republican was cool. But one thing is certain, I never want to be just another politician. Instead, I am a citizen taxpayer, and I'm going to review every decision as a citizen taxpayer. Now, some say, why am I running? Well, because Washington is broken. Government is too big, and it exercises too much control over our lives. 15 trillion and moving to 16 trillion. This debt is going to harm our children, it's going to hurt our economy, and it's going to destabilize our currency. This is something I know, because in addition to having a degree in economics, I have an MBA. I studied economics at the graduate level with Dick Armey, a free market economist. And I served as a financial analyst before my wife put me through the SMU Law School and I came back to this district. Spending is out of control. That's why I stand for a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. I simply do not trust Congress or any future Congress to restrain spending without one. And the threat of higher taxes and the threat of excessive regulations and the continuation of federal overreach in that area hurts small businesses as well as industry in this district. Now, Obamacare must be repealed. If Obamacare is allowed to stand, there are no limits to what the federal government can do to you. And it's going to hurt patients. It will put government in the middle of your health care decisions. We must have border security, a strong national defense. We must support NASA. It is ridiculous that we now have to pay the Russians to send our astronauts into space and borrow the money from the Chinese to pay the Russians. And we must have energy independence. And I'm proud that I was the only congressional candidate at a recent meeting with Senator John Cornyn and representatives of TransCanada to get the Keystone XL pipeline into this congressional district, because that will mean 700,000 barrels of crude every single day. I ask you to join me in my campaign. Working together, we can put America on the pathway to prosperity. We need conservative actions, not someone just of words. We need to send a citizen taxpayer to Washington, not just another politician. Join me as we put this congressional district on the map and make it the rising star of the Gulf Coast. Thank you.